Well, it finally came in today. My Terminator X Max for the red truck finally showed up. I wanted to install this when I had the heads off and was changing the lifters over, but it didn't come in. So I finally got it in. I'm looking over everything that's coming with it. I've got the transmission harness. This harness is, it has the turbine speed sensor and the vehicle speed sensor set up for a 4L80. I got to check and see what these other wires go to. Of course, that's all in the manual. We got the main power wire that comes with it, the injector harness, which this is the style plug that my injectors take, and this harness came with these, and I had the one for the Blazer out also, because you know I got the regular Terminator. It's not the Max because I have the 400 in this, but I was looking at this one's harness, and it comes with like the factory style. So I hate to do it, but I think I'm gonna hack this harness up and put these wires on, the plug ends on. Obviously that's what I need to do. And like this is all different, the plug end's different, so whatever, I'm gonna have to do it. So it'll be I wanted to install this tonight is what I'm getting at here, but I got a side terminal battery, so I had to go to 2 different stores, but this is the one that extends out, so I can put on these ring terminals directly on here and use them. And then what else does it come with? It has its own oxygen sensor, which I can probably use one of the ones that's already in it, but whatever, I'll put theirs in just to make the system happy. Let me put this one back. And what else? What was this one? Oh, this is for the oxygen sensor. We need this, I think. So the only things that I am, let me talk about the oil pressure sending unit. They require, well, it's an optional thing, but they want to see oil pressure. I had to get this specific switch to plug into the harness. I don't have to put this in, but by doing this, I'm going to lose the functional gauge on my dash. But eventually I want to do, this is kind of my dilemma. Right now, the water temperature sensor doesn't work. The water temperature gauge doesn't work. There you go. My water temperature gauge doesn't work on the dash because the water temperature sending unit that's on the Gen 3 truck block goes to the computer. The fuel injection needs it. The original engine would have had, you know, the little V6 had 2 temperature sensors, and one would have went to the dash, one would have went to the computer, which I have that second sensor. The problem is there's nowhere in, you know, the old, the 5.3 truck engine, there's nowhere to put it. There is a guy out there that's like remachining the threads so you can screw it into the other port in the other head back by the heater box. But, you know, I never got him to do that. I never had the time. And honestly, the original one is just pipe thread anyway. I was just going to drill a hole, tap into the water pump somewhere and just stick it in there. But I'm kind of thinking about doing Holley's digital dash and doing away with the entire factory cluster for a couple of reasons. Well, honestly, I don't know if the digital dash can show me fuel level. That would be a downfall. I have to check into that. But my speedometer doesn't work. I have to get an adapter box to make the speedometer work. So that's one thing. There was something else. I can't remember what it was. But anyway, that's where I'm at with this. I wanted to install this tonight. I have to solder these on, which I'm making this sound like a bigger deal than it is. But I just got to do it. But what I need to do, I need to get the Blazer out of here. I can do it in the other garage where I did the heads, but I still have the mess over there from when I did the heads, and I got to be running back and forth to each side, and I got to jack the vehicle up to get under it to do the transmission wiring and the crank angle sensor, which is over by the starter. I don't want to do it in that garage. I want to do it in this garage. But like I said, I'm motivated. I want to do this tonight, and I got a lot of work to do moving stuff around just to do it. So I think I'm going to give it a try. So let me get to it. All right, you saw me just cut these ends off and put those ends on. The reason I did them the way I did, see these have numbers on them. Each one of these, like see this one says injector number 4. They numbered them according to firing order. So I literally took my time, and every single one of these corresponds with the cylinder they're supposed to go to. So, and I taped up a few of these, which I hated to do, but the heat shrink that I got, I ran out of the one that actually fit it, and I used like this next size up, which I didn't want to do. When I shrunk them down, they didn't quite fit. They were sliding around, so the tape's there to hold it. I'll probably revisit this, maybe, I don't know. But now I'm going to go out there and rip the harness out of the truck. That's the next step. Like I mentioned before, I wanted to take care of all this when I had the heads off. I have my rat's nest over here from, the truck, the original wiring and all that. And it's a mess in this area. What I'm going to have to do, the Holley doesn't want to be mounted outside. It's not weatherproof like the factory PCM is. I'm going to put that one where the factory one was in the glove box, and I'm going to bring it down through that little hole down there where all the factory wires actually used to come through. So hopefully everything's long enough and it all fits right. And that's my first thing. I'm just going to take the harness that I made off of the truck, get it all cleaned up, figure out what wires I need and don't need, and I'm going to take it from there. So here is the factory computer that I took out of this truck for the V6, and here is the Holley, and you can see they're almost the same size. So what I'm hoping is that can live behind the glove box like factory, and I can put the glove box insert back in and not have to worry about it. So right now inside the glove box, besides my registration and insurance card, I have the AEM wideband that I've been tuning the HP tuners off of. That's coming out, and all these wires and everything pretty much have to go. And I'm finally going to, a lot of these wires are, oh man, there's so much stuff in here, I don't even know where it's at. Here it is, this big plug right here. I left a lot of the wires long, like ridiculously long, for no reason, because I didn't know, here we go, because I didn't know what I was doing with this stuff. Now that I've kind of figured out, you know, what I'm doing, I can shorten all them back and make it somewhat normal. And on top of here is where the Holley will eventually wind up living. I hope I can find the bracket again, but that's where I'm going to kind of put it. And then I can put the glove box insert back in here, and you know, won't even be able to tell it's in there. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to start tearing all this stuff out, including the Holley or the AEM wideband. I'm going to stick with the glow shift. I kind of like it. I'm probably going to wind up putting that little touch screen thing here, maybe, because I think that has the boost and the wideband on it as a display, so it'll be a little redundant to have it like twice. Until I make up my mind what I'm going to do with the display over there, or what do you call it, the digital dash, if I'm going to use one or not, I don't know. But for now, all I gotta do is clear this junk out of here. Alrighty, well, it's the following day. Last night I found the tray that holds the original computer, so I can put that back in and modify it to hold the Holley one. Couple things when I was wiring this all up last night. There's a plug that's down here. This little guy right here. They didn't give me the other end of this, which the green wire runs the fuel pump. So I was trying to test this, I was just running a wire and forcing the fuel pump on. So I had the fuel pump going. I've got the GM 2-bar map sensor. For the stock computer and the HP tuners, that's fine. But Holley is like really specific in which map sensor they want me to use. And on their little thing here, turn the key on. When I'm cranking this, I'm not really a fan of this thing. Which one is it? Here it is. This map KPA, it doesn't move at all. So I don't know what's wrong with it, but it won't start. I can't get it to run. I'm gonna put in the map sensor that they're recommending. I ordered one and should have that tomorrow. But I'm gonna wrap this up. I kind of thought this was gonna be easier than that. I should have knew better because that's how things work for me. But for the most part, I got it wired. I gotta order there. Like if I would have known, and you know that's my fault for getting the box and trying to install it the same day. I you know, whatever. But I need to get this harness to run the fuel pump. I'm getting the map sensor that I need tomorrow. This Amazon fuse box that I got is an absolute nightmare. I kind of don't recommend it, but I'm gonna I don't know, I gotta figure it out. You see this mess that I got. This is the factory, you know, for the truck. This is all what I did. Because, you know, if I would have known I was going to go with all this, I could have kept all the powering up there and it would have been just fine. But I moved everything over here and now it's a nightmare for me. So, anyway, this harness here that they did give me runs the fans. And there was like one or two other things. Another issue I got, when I step on the brakes, the whole system resets. So the wire that I hooked up for the brakes, it said it wanted 12 volt positive. I did that. I don't know why it's doing this. I'm gonna have to disconnect it, and I don't know. I don't really know why, but you know, this comes with the territory. Anytime you mess with something new, you always have problems. I had a bunch of problems with the factory PCM. With that, this guy, I had a bunch of problems with that in the beginning, and you know, you just have to work through it. So part of having a project, I guess. Anyway. That's it for this installment. I was really hoping to get this thing running, but it is what it is. The laptop tuning cable should be here Sunday. Today's Friday. So I was told that once you get onto the software in the laptop, you can actually get in. Like I could probably use this 2-bar, but they said you have to change some offsets to make it work. I don't have it, you know what I mean? I don't have the cable yet. I did order it, it's on its way, it should be here Sunday. I got it through Amazon. So, I don't know, we'll see what happens. Anyway, that's it for this video. Catch everybody later. 2 days later, I've been riding a struggle bus. Two things happened to me. My soldering iron It was like cold out when I was doing this. Well, I don't know what cold would be, but the soldering iron just wasn't soldering my 10 gauge wires and 12 gauge wires. So I wound up, you know, doing what I don't like doing. Everything's done like that, but you know what? For now, until I get this thing together and figured out, that's what I'm doing. My second problem is, and I'm not the kind of guy to get online and get on these forums and tell everybody how stupid I am, but I got the Holley all hooked up. Let me turn this thing on, I'll show you what it's doing. It'll start and run and it'll idle, but I don't have anywhere to hold this yet and it's just getting a glare. It's the RPM's dropping out, which is this one on the bottom here where it says stall. So I'm gonna start it up and see what happens. So you can smell raw fuel. There was a couple things I wanted to check. The grounds that I put by the PCM, I'm gonna recheck them. And what I think I did wrong, I'm about to do this. The two grounds, let me go back here, I'll show you. So this is the harness for the Blazer, but it's literally the same harness. Each one of these, this goes to one coil pack. I think this is even. That has its own ground wire that goes to the back of the cylinder head, and it specifically tells you to hook it directly to the cylinder head only. And then the other side, which is odd or whatever, that same thing. So on this, I have both of these hooked to the valley right next to the oil sending unit. So I'm going to hook these up the way they're telling me to hook them up, and hopefully my problem should go away. And I have the GM2 bar map sensor. I was not able to program that with the little 3-inch touchscreen. I had to get the USB cable to hook it up to the laptop to change the offsets and all that to run the 2-bar. So that was kind of one reason why it took me so long. Plus, I can't be out here all the time doing this stuff. So I'm about to set these wires free. I got my bolts right here. I had to cut them down because I didn't have anything long enough or short enough. But I'm about to run these the way they're telling me to run it, and we'll see what happens. So stick with me. So there we go. I moved the ground for this bank is right on the top bolt here, and did the same thing over here. The ground for this bank is right here. So they're grounded the way Holley wants them to be grounded. I'm going to start it up and see if my ignition problem is straightened out. And then I got some other things I got to do. But this evening I'm going to put my airbox back in, and we'll drive it around and see what this self-tuning thing's like. All right, here we go. I opened my garage door because I'm going to let it run for a minute. But let's see if they straighten out the idle issue, or the RPM issue, I should say. So that didn't fix anything. All right, well, I'm gonna go through, check my other grounds, and see what I can do to make this thing happy. So we're all installed. I'm having a problem getting the alternator to charge. The Holley doesn't do anything for the alternator. So I went online, and you're supposedly on the whatever terminal is the second from the top. You use a 470 ohm resistor at 1/4 watts. I got this one. I had to redo all this too, which my soldering iron wasn't working, and I wound up using these crimp connectors, which I am completely against. But to get it working, I'll straighten everything else out later. But Oh, it's this purple wire here. This purple wire. That purple wire goes to the alternator. So, which this whole thing is switched by the key. So, let me figure this out, and then I'm going to go for a ride and actually start letting it tune itself. And I might go live to try that out. So let's see what happens. Getting ready to go out for a day. I had a little mishap with the Holley, and it took me a few days to figure it out. So this is like 2 weeks later after me putting this Holley in. There's a difference in the harness between the, what's the Gen 4 stuff? 54-4. I think it's 54 or 56 teeth on the crank and then 4 on the cam, versus what I know is Gen 3 stuff. 24 tooth on the crank and 1 tooth on the cam where the sensor's in the back. So I wound up having to rob the harness from my Blazer and putting that on here. And I think I figured out how to repin the other harness to make it work for the Blazer, since I'm not taking this one back off. Anyway, I'm about to do a cold start here. So I've taken my boost gauge and my AFR ratio, gauges out of here. I now have this little handheld deal. Let me turn it on. So when I say cold, it is manifold air temperature is 53. Where's coolant temperature? Coolant temperature is 55. So they're close. They're within a few degrees of each other. Hopefully you can see that there. So let's start this thing up. All right, let me back it out.